Hi, I'm Travis Sloffer.
And I'm Mitchell Dupuis.
And I'm Maya Lewis.
And I'm Jonathan Korpi.
And I'm Kevin Hunn.
And
we're gonna teach you.
Okay, welcome to our video lesson of Act 1 of Othello. First we're going to start off with like a reenactment of Act 1 as a whole, and then we're going to do an analysis, and we're going to have just different people talking about different things going on. And if you have questions or anything, just refer to the handout.
Go.
Hey Draco, how's it going?
Yeah, hello, Goyle. I'm swell.
You hear about Harry and Hermione?
Yes, I did. Oh, I hate Potter so much. Such a filthy half-blood. Ever since he made Ron co-captain of the Quidditch team with him, I've despised him ever since.
What are you gonna do about it?
We should go up to Professor Snape and tell them about what they're doing. Let's go. Professor Snape! Professor Snape!
What is the meaning of this?
What are you two doing up this late? People might think you're up to something.
Professor Snape, Harry's been slithering into Hermione's Chamber of Secrets.
What does that even mean?
It means they've been married, sir.
What? Student marriages are strictly against Hogwarts school policy.
Go check their dormitories now if you don't believe us.
Very well.
Hey, I have to go, okay? I'll be right back.
Hermione? It's a fake! Doyle, you were right. Where are they?
Follow me, sir.
Very well.
Okay, we're going to talk about Act 1, Scene 1, and we're going to start with the characterization of Iago, Rodrigo, and Barbancio. So generally, Iago is a very shady, mysterious, like notorious guy with lots of weird thoughts, and yeah.
Iago on Act 1, Scene 1, on line 68, he says, I am not what I am.
And that is a very prime example of the fact that he is extremely mysterious and just like a liar and someone that you don't want to trust, and he's not a very good guy because right there he's talking about his plan to ruin Othello, and he's just so scary and mysterious, and that's not good. And then we have Rodrigo, who is just generally very oblivious. Like, there's not very much like citations actually, it's just a general idea that he's oblivious to the fact that Iago is using him to ruin Othello. Like, Rodrigo, he loves Desdemona, and he wants Desdemona. And he thinks that he's going to get Desdemona out of this whole thing, but of course, as we all know, Desdemona dies, and he does not get her. So he's just very oblivious to the fact that Iago is using him.
Go.
Okay, and Barbancio is generally prejudiced and racist. And in Act 1, Scene 1, lines 191 through 197, he says, where we may apprehend her in the moor. And then Rodrigo says something, and Barbancio continues to say, pray you lead on, at every house I'll call. I may command at most, get weapons, and raise some special offers of night. And this shows that he uses a term more as like a racist term against black people and how he doesn't like black people. And then he says like, get weapons and stuff like that. Like he acts like Othello is like some crazy animal guy that's just gonna like hurt Desdemona, and he just is judging it at first sight, so he's also very judgmental.
This is also kind of like showing Brabantio's kind of like protective instincts with his daughter, because he feels like he knows who's right for his daughter, but like he didn't think Othello was the right kind of person. He kind of wanted to defend that to save his daughter.
I agree.
Next, we're going to talk about the character motives. Iago's his revenge on Othello for kind of like taking his lieutenant job that he wanted away from him, putting it to Cassio, and for sleeping with his wife, or that's what the rumor was that came around. Next is Rodrigo's with helping Iago. Iago kind of just like uses his money to help Iago with his.
Yeah, and an example of Rodrigo helping Iago is when he says, I thus would play and trifle with your reverence, your daughter, if you have not given her leave. I say again, hath made gross revolt, and she was talking to Barbancio and telling and being a snitch. And that was Act 1, Scene 1, lines 144 through 146. And Barbancio's character motive is to prevent the marriage of Desdemona and Othello.
On Act 1, Scene 1, 173 through 180, Barbancio says, It is true evil, and evil gone she is. And what's to come of my despised time is not but bitterness. Now, Rodrigo, where dost thou see her? O unhappy girl, with the Moor, says thou, who would be father? How didst thou know 'twas she? Oh, she deceived me past thought. What said she to you? Get more tapers, raise all my kindred. And she's just trying to like stop everything from happening and get Othello in trouble for what he has done.
Yep. Okay, we're also going to talk about the themes that are presented. A big one is jealousy, and that's with Iago's internal conflict. On lines 11 through 19, he says, I know my price, I am worth no worse a place, but he is loving his own pride and purposes, invades them with bombast circumstance, horribly stuffed with epithets of war, and in conclusion, none suits my mediators for certes. He says, I have already chose my officer, and what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician. And right now he's talking about how he's jealous of Cassio, getting this whole job thing, and he's just a very jealous man. This leads to his plot, which is huge in the story.
The next thing we're going to talk about is womanhood and sexuality on Act 1, Scene 1, lines 20 through 23. And Iago says, One Michael Cassio, a Florentine, a fellow almost damned, and a fair wife that has never set a quadrant on the field. And that means that he's women are only good for sex, and only men should be on the battlefield.
Basically. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the figurative language used in Scene 1. On Act 1, Scene 1, lines 94 through 95, Iago says, even now, very now, an old black ram is tupping your white ewe. And that is him talking about Othello and calling him an old black ram, which is extremely racist and just, it's a metaphor, but it's extremely racist and it's not good at all.
The next figurative device used in the beginning is foreshadowing. And that is when Iago and Rodrigo are sort of talking, making the plans, and Iago telling you the plans is foreshadowing of the future events, what might go down later in the play about the plan that Iago's coming up with. Thank goodness you're here, Draco.
Hello, Harry. You know, there are some people talking about you behind your back, comparing you to he who must not be named. You know, I was about to hit him with the Cruciatus curse, but I decided not to. But I'm still mad that they did.
Ron, I need you to deliver this message to Harry. I have to see him right away.
Okay, Professor Dumbledore.
Blimey, what is this?
What is this? It appears to be a message from Ron. It says Dumbledore wants you in his office immediately.
Let's go. Here we go.
There he is.
Potter, we know you've been in coitus with Hermione Granger. Admit it now. We know you placed her under the Imperious Curse.
I admit I married her, but I did not put her under the Imperious Curse. Let's go to Dumbledore's office right now.
Very well. I assure you you'll be expelled for sure this time, Potter.
In Scene 2 of Act 1 Othello, Othello is introduced as someone who's very courageous, unlike contrary beliefs by Iago saying that he's very negative and bad.
In Act 1, Scene 2, lines 33 through 35, Othello says, Not I must be found. My parts, my title, and my perfect soul shall manifest me rightly. Is it they?
This just shows that Othello is very courageous and is willing to stick up what he stands for, since he wants to defend his marriage against Desdemona, and he's very confident that the Senate will see otherwise, that his marriage is right. In Scene 2 of Act 1 in Othello, Cassio's motive is to bring Othello to the Duke in order for the war against the Turks. Since Othello is a general in the army, it is important that he is a part of the war in order for them to have a chance of beating the Turks in this war.
In Act 1, Scene 2, lines 44 through 53, Cassio says, "Something from Cyprus, as I may divine. It is a business of some heat. The galleys have sent a dozen secret messengers this very night at one another's heels, and many of the consuls raised and met are at the Duke's already. You have been hotly called for, when being not at your lodging to be found, the Senate hath sent about 3 quests to search you out." In Act 1, Scene 2, lines 80 through 82, says, "If she in chains of magic were not bound, whether a maid so tender, fair, and happy, so opposite to the marriage that she shunned."
This is an example of a metaphor that Shakespeare used that compares Desdemona's love for Othello to being chained in magic, as Brabantio puts it, since he thinks that Othello used magic in order for Desdemona to love Othello, which in reality is not true, which Desdemona just loves Othello for who he is.
Oh!
Oh!
Good, Harry. I'm glad that you're here. The Dark Lord's forces are arising, and I need your help.
I'll do the best I can to help you fight.
Professor Dumbledore, there's been a student marriage on campus.
Whoever did this will be expelled.
It was him, Harry Potter. He placed the Imperious Curse on Hermione Granger.
I did marry her, but it was not under the Imperious Curse.
We'll have to get Hermione and see what she has to say about this.
Look, here she comes. Tell everyone how Harry placed you under the Imperious Curse.
Professor, he did not place me under the Imperious Curse. I've fallen in love with him. After all that he's told me, I believe that he is really the chosen one.
Well, if this is the case, then your marriage has my blessing. Harry, you'll be off to battle soon with the Dark Lord.
Great.
There you are, Goyle.
I can't do it anymore, Draco.
What are you talking about?
I don't have any money left.
Oh, come on. You had to stick with the plan. Come on, you love Hermione. You need this. Besides, I hate Potter with all my guts. Trust me, my plan will work. I need you in this, though. I need the money to help finish this plan.
It seems I have no choice but to carry on.
Okay, good. Okay, you may leave now. Just wait. Potter has no idea what's coming for him. My plan is to use Ron to ruin Potter.
In Scene 3 of Act 1, you see that Brabantio is trying to get the Duke to punish Othello for seducing his daughter.
But Othello responds to this and says, "No, I never seduced your daughter." And the Duke is kind of encouraged to believe Othello because the Duke needs Othello to fight the Turks. And Othello's like, he's a great general. And then to decide this, they get Desdemona to come in, and she gives this whole speech about, she wasn't seduced, she loves him. And the Duke's like, okay, fine, I'll accept this, Othello. You just go out and go kill them Turks. And at the end, Rodrigo and Iago have a kind of confrontation where they discuss their future plans. And then at the very end, Iago gives a soliloquy where he discusses his motivations and his plans against Othello and Cassio.
In Scene 3 of Act 1, we see that the Turks are trying to trick the Venetians into thinking that they're attacking Rhodes, but they're actually attacking Cyprus.
This shows the deception of the Turks towards the Venetians, and we also see Iago's deception and trickery in this scene, with him trying to manipulate the whole situation with Othello and Desdemona. And this just shows the inner theme of the play, Othello, which is partly a theme of deception and trickery and manipulation and treachery.
In Scene 3 of Act 1, Othello gives a speech to Brabantio, the Duke, and all the other people in attendance at the time, where he talks about how he has married Desdemona, Brabantio's daughter, and that he has not tricked her or manipulated anyone, and that he truly loves her. And it characterizes him as being noble, but it also shows that he has a troubled past.
In lines 91 through 92, Othello states, "Hath this extent, no more. Rude I am in my speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of my peace."
The character Brabantio is a very important character in Act 1, and in Scene 3 we see a lot of his motives that he has. He is ashamed that his daughter has been stolen from him, and his right as a father to choose his daughter's husband has not been met, and he feels like Othello has taken his right as a father away from him.
We see this in line 68, where it says, "She's abused, stolen from me, and corrupted."
In Scene 3 of Act 1, we see a lot of the Duke's motives. The Duke, his territories are being attacked by the Turks, and he wants to defend them to protect his lands and people. And to do that, he needs Othello. He's a very good general. And although when Brabantio initially comes to him and tells him that his daughter has been taken from him and married without his consent, the Duke initially wants to help Brabantio find this criminal. When he realizes that it was Othello that married his daughter, he realizes that he can't do that because he needs Othello to fight the Turks.
In line 54, 55, the Duke states, "Valiant Othello, we must straight employ you against the general enemy of."
In the very last part of Scene 3 of Act 1, the character Iago engages in a soliloquy with the audience where he explains his motives and his desires and his inner character. He talks about his hatred of the Moor, or Othello, and his desire to gain revenge against him for the perceived slights against him, including passing him over for a promotion and supposedly sleeping with his wife, Amelia.
In line 396, he states, "But for my sport and profit, I hate the Moor."
This just shows his hatred of Othello, and for his sport and profit, it's just kind of a game to him. He just wants to ruin Othello's life as much as he can.
In Scene 3 of Act 1, lines 313 through 14, Brabantio states, "Look to her more, if thou hast eyes to see. She has deceived her father, and made thee."
This quote from Brabantio shows a bit of rhyming that Shakespeare gave us. He rhymed "see" with "thee," some like sound devices he threw us out there. And also, it's a bit of foreshadowing, because it's kind of putting the thought in Othello's mind that Desdemona may betray him in the future because she's betraying her father. And so that's kind of foreshadowing that in the future Desdemona may not be completely honest with Othello, or it may just be planting the seeds of that thought into Othello's mind.
Bye, have a great time.